Hi everybody, hi from Runway. Today we are sitting with Max Shapiro, who is, for example, one of the co-founders of this beautiful accelerator. Currently, Max is working as a CEO for People Connect, as well as active investor in Silicon Valley. And he is a member of Keiretsu Forum and Silicon Valley.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Did I forget to mention something?
No.
I know you like to connect people.
That's what we do. That's People Connect helps early stage high tech startups find great people.
Yeah. And I think you are like the right person to talk to about investment environment in Silicon Valley.
Great.
And that's why we invited you, and thank you very much. And I would like to ask you a couple of questions.
Sure.
And I just directly jump to the first question. So my first question is, you probably meet startups from different countries all around the world.
Yes.
And I would like to ask if you see any patterns or any different things among startups from, for example, North America, Europe, Asia, Latin America. Mm-hmm. If you can see some, different things between these companies.
Well, the one big difference we see, and I was just talking about it to a startup from Italy yesterday, is the European startups are very conservative in their projections. American investors like to see optimistic 5-year projections, and European, it doesn't matter whether it's Eastern Europe, North, wherever, all over Europe, just tend to be very conservative, and they say, we don't want to promise something that we can't deliver, but a projection is not a promise, it's a hope. So I think it's very important for all foreign startups that are thinking about coming to the US, if they're going to try to raise money here, they need to have very optimistic 5-year projections.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. My second question, if then like this foreign startup comes to Silicon Valley, sometimes they go for 1 month period or like 3 months incubation. Mm-hmm. What do you think is achievable in such a short time, and what should these startups or founders focus on if we speak about 1 month or 3 months?
Well, I think the most important thing is to know from a marketing standpoint what will work in the United States and what won't. Because, if an American were to move to Prague or Barcelona or Santiago, Chile, we don't know how to market there. We don't understand the culture. So I think marketing is super important, whether it's a 1 month or a 3 month program. Meeting as many people as possible in your domain, reaching out on LinkedIn to people you find who may have domain expertise to ask them if you can have coffee with them. I've been in a lot of different industries, and I don't know any industry like the startup, what's going on in the startup technology today, where everyone here wants to help other people. And whether it's an older person wanting to help a younger person, doesn't really matter. We move very quickly in the U.S. We want to help people. We're not guarded about sharing information. And so I think that really helps. I think that's why so many foreign companies are moving here, because things happen quickly here, and people are looking to help startups, whether it's with building a team, whether it's a lawyer, whether it's funding from angels or funding from VCs. So much is happening here. This is the epicenter of what's going on in technology. And what's going on in technology today is just amazing and wonderful.
That's true. That's definitely true. And so then if a founder company comes to Silicon Valley, is there any advice, what they can prepare for?
It depends on their focus. I think that again, they need to meet as many people as possible. I think working out of an incubator, whether it's Runway or one of the other incubators, makes a lot of sense, as opposed to just working in an office. Or even that, there's a lot of co-location spaces where you just have a desk, but there might be people in other types of businesses, not startups. You want to be in an environment surrounded by startups. And there are so many opportunities between meetups and events on Eventbrite to meet people, and there are houses that are where people are living from foreign countries with startups, that they're just living there and they're surrounded by them, and the more you can immerse yourself in this startup culture, the better off you will be.
Mm-hmm. So we get your advice, and now the other side of the coin. What are the don'ts founders should avoid here in Silicon Valley?
Well, if you're looking to raise money in Silicon Valley, you need to be a U.S. company and have people here, and you need people. investors, there's so many opportunities, and companies that have good ideas are going to get funding if they're here. But if I'm an angel investor, which I am, and I'm looking at 2 or 3 companies, and I like all 3 of them equally, and one is in San Francisco, the other's in Palo Alto, and the other's in Prague or London or Paris or Tokyo, I'm going to invest in the one where I can see the people, meet the people. So it's really important for foreign companies that want to raise money here. One of the executives has to be here, whether it's a VP of Biz Dev, whether it's a CEO. Let all the engineers stay in their native countries. It's crazy to move them here. But if you want to raise money, you need to be a U.S. company. I think working with a good American startup attorney makes a lot of sense, and there are a number of them. So doing your homework beforehand, to me, that's the biggest don't, is to think that you can come over here, be here for a month or 2, raise money, and that people are going to invest in a German or a Venezuelan or a Chinese company. That's not going to happen.
You touched the topic a bit that companies are coming here to get the money, to find an investor. What do you think, how long does it take from the initial contact to really close or reach the final agreement with angel investor, or to close the seed funding round?
So in order to get funding, generally speaking, it's 3 months. If from your start of your meetings until funding, if you get that done within 3 months, you're doing well. Now you run into problems at certain times of the year, like between November 15th, which is today is November 15th, and the end of the year, really into the first year of January. People are shut down on doing new things. They're mentally focused on the holidays. They're not focused on investing in a new company. So that's a good time to avoid, looking for funding. On the other hand, as soon as the holidays are over, people say, oh God, Christmas, New Year's, it was wonderful, we had a great time. Now it's a new year, let's get something done. Let's get started. It's 2016, let's do something. So that's a real, January and February are really good times to look for funding, as is September. August is a difficult month because a lot of people, just like in Europe, are on vacation.
No, but different question. Many people, investors, say that the winter is coming, and they mean that the environment of investments is a bit hot, and like that the investment bubble could burst. What's your opinion about that? And if it happens, how it can impact Silicon Valley?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of things that can change the wonderful environment we've got today. I mean, look at what happened in Paris, last week. So my major concern for stoppage of what's going on now is cyber attacks, actual attacks by ISIS, those sorts of things. I mean, if the internet is shut down for a week or a month, the whole economy, worldwide economy stops. Is there a bubble? Yeah, there may be, but it feels very different than the bubble that burst in 2001 because it's so inexpensive to do a startup. There's so many apps, there's some of the Internet of Things just booming.
Okay, interesting. Again, I'm jumping a bit back to our previous topic. If investor comes to Silicon Valley and would like to talk to you, what is the ideal way how to approach you? How to make the connection with you?
You mean if a startup company comes?
Yeah.
I mean, I talk to startup companies all the time, and what I say that we do is we connect people with startups who are looking for funding, then we help them build great teams. So people can just reach out to me, Max at peopleconnectstaffing.com. I'd love to start a dialogue and introduce them to people that I think might be able to help them, and see how people connect and how I can help them.
And if you consider investment, is there any key metric you are really focusing on? Growth, revenue, something else?
To me, because I'm in the people business, I like to bet on the jockey and who's running the business and what kind of success they've had, how smart they are. Obviously, you want to look at a company that's in a market where there's a chance for success, for them to know about the competition. If they have any contacts with possible acquirers, how am I as an investor going to get my money back? When am I going to get it back? One of the mistakes that many companies make when they're pitching for funding, be they international companies or U.S. companies, they forget to think about the investor. And the investor's interested in WIIFM. And what WIIFM stands for is what's in it for me. So I'm being selfish. I'm thinking about myself. If I invest $100,000, how am I going to get my money back? When and what kind of return can I possibly expect?
And Then what I heard from investors, they are complaining a lot about the realistic valuations that sometimes founders, they just...
Well, here's the, I think this is the intelligent way to approach it. If investors come over here, and I see this, I'm looking at 2 or 3 possible companies to invest, and they're all local. The one's early stage, and they're at $2.5 million evaluation. The others are $3 million. Somebody else, a similar type company, comes says they're at $8 million. Well, I'm not going to invest in a company that's way overpriced. It's like, someone isn't going to pay $150,000 for a Volkswagen Jetta. You're going to pay $30 or $40 or $50,000, what it should be. And I think the approach for all startup entrepreneurs is, look, you've got to create a win-win situation with the investor and for you as the entrepreneur. Most all of the early stage funding I see now, seed stage, in some A, is a convertible note. And so you don't have a price round. It's easier for everybody. And to say, if someone says, what's your pre-money valuation, to say that we're going to do a convertible note. But what I'm trying now, I'm speaking as if I'm the company. What I'm trying to do is I want to create a win-win situation for you as the investor, for me as the entrepreneur, because we're going to have to spend a lot of time together. It's almost like being married. I mean, we better really like each other. And I can't say this company's worth $8 million, and if you don't invest in it at $8 million, take a hike. It's not going to work.
Is there any industry you are focusing on, something specific?
We're different in that we work with many different types of companies. So it could be online, it could be a product company, it could be a medical diagnostic company. We work with all sorts of startups, and we place people in every position imaginable. It could be a VP of engineering, a CTO, Chief Marketing Officer, CEO, or it could be somebody who's bringing eyeballs to a website, like a growth hacker, somebody dialing for dollars. And I think one of the other important things, whether companies, international companies, when they come here, work with us as a recruiter or try to find people on their own, which is more difficult, you need to have startup experienced people with domain expertise that are used to knowing that you're going to work 60, 70-hour weeks, not 40-hour weeks.
And my very last question, what did you learn this week?
What did I learn this week? Oh, that's good.
It's a hard question.
No, I learned something. So and this is great. So we work with the companies. I put on 3 monthly pitch events. 2 are here at Runway, 1 is in Palo Alto. And we work with the companies beforehand on their pitches. And we had a pitch coach helping us, and he said, look, you speak at 150 words per minute. And this particular pitch event is a 4-minute PowerPoint. So before you go doing your PowerPoint, 150 words a minute, 4 minutes, write out 600 words. Tell your story. Be able to tell that without slides. And then let the slides and the artwork that you put on them enhance your talk, as opposed to having your whole 160 words up there, or 80 of them. People cannot listen to you and read. Point of a PowerPoint is not to have your pitch up there. Now, if you're sitting down with a VC and you have a half hour, you can do that. But when you're pitching to a group, have great visuals.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Max.
My pleasure.
It was great advice. Thank you.
Thank you very much.